Good morning, Chavra. Today is the 16th of Menachemov, and we continue in Epistle 5 of You get us a Kodesh on page 72 in the Chayenu. You ready, Alan? Ed, you with us? In today's lesson, the myriads of spiritual creations, angels, souls in the upper worlds, come from the myriad combinations of the 22 Hebrew letters which serve as channels of divine creative energy and are the codes and coding of each created entity. I told you it was going to get higher. We come to a question. Why are sages of blessed memory said that specifically this world was created by the letter Hey of Hashem's name? According to the explanation provided above, not only this physical world, but all of creation resulted from the letter Hey, meaning from the Sphira of Malchus, the lowest level as expressed in divine speech. It's known to all the wise of heart. So you guys know this already. Concerning the multitudes of worlds and chambers, which are innumerable. It's written with reference to these countless worlds and hecholes. There are myriads and myriads of levels. Do his regiments have a number? They're infinite, so to speak. Although any creation is not infinite. Only Hashem is infinite. But nevertheless, there are many, many levels. Ovachol, heichol, ugdud, elef, alfin, v'riboy, rivivon, malachim. Each heichol, each chamber and regiment comprises a finite but how do you say that then? Prodigious number of angels. 1,000 thousands serve him, and myriads of myriads stand before him. Prodigious, thank you. Likewise, incalculable, like the above hechalis and regiments. Like, okay, there is a finite number, but there are so many. Are there limitless number of? Is there a countable number of stars in the sky? You can't count them, but there is a certain limit. There's a certain number, but it's beyond our ability to count how many there are. That's all. But at some point, scientifically, if they want to figure out how many, I guess it would take many, many years. But David knows it's a creation, and there's a certain number of them. They'll keep finding more, fine, but there is a certain number of them. But from our perspective, it's just there's too many to count. Same thing here. The number of levels, the number of chambers, the number of likewise incalculable above the hecholis and regiments are levels of what? Neshamas, souls belonging to the 5 general categories of nefesh, ruach, neshama, chayechida, in rungs to no end. For each of these 5 categories branches out into levels of an unexhaustible number. And likewise, there are numerous or numberless levels in all the worlds and echolis. From among the multitudes of echolis are chambers that exist in the worlds of Atzilus, Bria, and Yitzira. So the 3 above mentioned worlds are higher, so to speak, than the world of Asiya, which is the world of action. The world of Asiya, which includes both the spiritual and physical worlds of Asiya, because Asiya is this world. So there's a spiritual aspect to this world and the physical aspect. In a kol ribuyim elu, ribuy achar ribuy ad ein kates mamish. All these hosts of created beings, then one multitude beyond another ad infinitum. So it goes on like forever. It says like human beings. We can go on. We can procreate forever. Obviously, there's a limit, and everything has an expiration date. But in theory, it can go on forever. All issue and flow from these combinations of 22 letters of the word of Hashem, which in turn divide into further profusion of combinations. And really, there's mamish from, if you take the 22 letters, you can create, what we're saying here is an infinite number of words, but obviously there's a time when it runs out, as we said before, but you can really, for our purposes, we can go on forever trying to come up with new combinations of words. Okay. So these words, this is stated in Sefer Yitzira, that Shiva Avonim Boinois Chameshes Alofim Barboim Batim. 7 stones, meaning letters, build 5,040 houses, meaning words. From here on in, meaning from the sum of the factorial of 8 and onward, go ahead and calculate that which the mouth is unable to express. By this way, the divine letters, the letters of divine speech may be multiplied infinitely by various permutations and combinations, giving rise to correspondingly infinite range of created beings. Is there an end? Yes, but for our purposes, for our sake, it's infinite. But if the distinctions between all these things lie merely in the ways in which their respective letters are combined, why are there so many and varying qualitative levels also? So quantitative we get, but qualitative, one surpassing the other? This is the question that the Alter Rebbe now proceeds to address. Though among the rungs and levels of the angels and souls, so many distinct kinds of qualitative as well as qualitative as well as quantitative levels and rungs. Ad infinitum, gavaya, one surpassing the other. Ba'ayin taf beis shin ba'at bash kulu. These variations of levels exist because they all come into being according to the permutations in the various letter combinations and letter substitutions of aleph and taf, beis and shin, and so on, of the 22 letters, which themselves come into being according to the permutations in the various letter combinations and letter substitutions of aleph, taf, beis, shin, and so on. I'm not good at math. This is way over my head. Oh yeah, we explained this earlier, so you guys should know this already. I'm sure you do. Now, although there exists such a teeming superabundance of distinct and varying levels of created beings. Okay, guys, let's break this down to our practical level, okay? We're talking about the neshamas and all this stuff. How many people are in this world? Do they know exactly? No, but there's babies being born all the time. Most of them are in hospitals where it can be documented, but many are probably not, in different countries and different, in the Amazon rainforest and whatnot, or in Africa, whatever. Okay, but there's what, 8 billion? Whatever, fine. So maybe there's constantly people coming and going up, going down, coming in, right? And every single person is on a different level. There's no two people exactly, even identical twins are not the same in their way of thinking, in their spiritual pursuits, in their understanding of godliness, if they so wish to explore. So in that sense, from our perspective, there's 8 billion different levels. So instead of worrying about what he's talking about the souls, just think about it. We're sitting in the shul. Everybody has different levels. We're all different ages. We're different sizes. It's not that we're just different. It's that qualitatively, gavaya, we're surpassing each other. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you. I'm worse than you. I'm at a different level. Just and it's not up to us to decide to calculate. The Eibusher knows what's going on. He knows what's the scariest part of Hashem is that it's one thing people hear what you say. It's another thing people see what you do. But what about Hashem, who knows exactly what you're thinking? That could be a really scary place sometimes, right? Nobody wants to look up when we talk about that. It is what it is. I heard a Vart last night I want to share. It says, instead of getting upset and getting depressed when you have a really ugly, dark, dirty thought, you get into bed at night, you're about to go to sleep, you did everything right, you washed your hands, you said your Shema, you prepared it, and then you get a terrible, terrible dark thought. You can get depressed, you can get sad. Whoa, why is this thought coming into my mind? Now I might have, dreams, whatever might happen from there. So instead, the Vart goes like this: smile and be happy. You didn't put that thought in your head. The Eibusher put that thought in your head. There's a certain level of control we have over our thoughts, and then there's a certain level of out of control our thoughts get. We can fight it, and the pop-ups come. There's a method. The Alter Rebbe explains how to get rid of evil thoughts. But instead of getting angry, frustrated, and upset, and sad, we say, Eibusher, you're in control of the entire world. You're in control of every step of man. You're in control of every single blade of grass and bird in the sky and, biggest, mammals that walk on earth and tiniest creatures and smallest pebbles and grain of salt. And you decided to stick this thought into my head at this moment. Why? I don't know. But you know what? It's kind of funny to me. And you just say, Eibusher, I'm yours. Tell me what to do. You try to figure it out, try to push it out instead of getting depressed. It's another thing that happens that's just beyond our understanding. So hopefully it gives us a little bit of sense of comfort when an evil thought enters our mind, because again, you can control your mouth most of the time, but we're not drinking. You can control your actions a little bit better than you can control your mouth. I'm sure there's people you want to swing at, but you don't. You probably never did. Maybe you said a few things you shouldn't have said, but usually you can control your hands, right? But our thoughts are very hard to control. Okay, back to the discussion at hand. And by the way, if you just as a little, not to get further off tangent, we want to get back to the subject here, but we learned this extensively, that you really cannot push a thought out of your mind. It's very, very difficult to say, okay, stop thinking that. It just doesn't work like that. Rather, what we do is we replace the thought. And when you replace the thought, you're thinking of the new thought, and the old one dissipates and sometimes leaves completely. So that's what you do. And you try to come up with positive things, holy things, good things, and have a visual on those, and then the other thought, 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100 will disappear. In a general way, they all possess wisdom and knowledge, and they know their creator. Talking about all the different levels and souls and spiritual manifestations. Because their life force stems from the inwardness of the letters which issue from the supreme Chachma. So we may therefore truly say that the beings encompassed by the general term of creatures of the world to come were all created by the letter Yud. For their vitality stems from the inwardness and radiation of the letters of the divine speech that derive from the Yud of the 4-letter name of Hashem. That's the spiritual world, Olam Haba, world to come. But what about this world? Hashafel. It's low spiritually. The life force that's found within it, Katan, Mehachil, Elispoil, Oir, Vachayas, Ibechinas Tsuras Ha'oises, Upnimi Yuson. this lowly world is too small to contain and endure the light and life force that proceeds from the form and the inwardness of the letters. So we need a different source of light. This lowly world is too small for this light and life force to be able to radiate and diffuse in it without any garments or concealment. So the light is too small. It needs some kind of a garment and container which is different than the way they radiate in the souls and angels, which receive the light from the inwardness of the letters without these vessels. Instead, the radiation and diffusion comes and flows to this world from the matter, body, or externality of the letters. This is called breath, just as the body or external aspect of the letters of man's speech derive from the physical breath. It divides into the 7 breaths of the second pasuk of Koheles, Ecclesiastes, of which the world stands, as taught in the Zohar. So the world exists only by virtue of the 7 breaths uttered by Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon. Who Moitza Pi Hashem? This is the utterance that issues forth from Hashem's mouth, so to speak. Again, Hashem doesn't have a mouth, but this is the way it's described. Which is vested in this world and all its hosts to animate them. In this utterance is vested the form of the letters of speech and thought, emanating from his holy attribute and his will and wisdom and so on, which are utterly incorporated in the blessed Ein Sof. So thus the radiance emanating from the form of the letters, a radiation that emanates from God's divine attribute, wisdom and will, is merely found within the internality of the divine utterance that creates and vitalizes this world, but it's not manifest. That which serves as the source of the creation and vitality of the world is the externality or body of the letters, the breath of divine speech. In parentheses, V'zeu she'amar Arizal she'bechinas kitzonis hakelim demalchus tatzilos amru mazos behei shel shem havai baruch hu yordu v'nasu neshama la'olam ha'asiyah. This is what Arizal said, that the external aspect of the vessels of the sphere of Malchus, of the world of Atzilos, these external aspects being alluded to by the lower hay of the 4-letter name of Hashem, descended and became the soul of the world of Asiyah, this world. It's likewise stated in the Tikkunim that the Yud in the world of Atzilus, the upper hay in the world of Bria, the Vav in the world of Yitzira, and the lower level hay nests in the world of Asiyah. The takeaway is this physical world which we inhabit is also inherently divine. It is only that the divinity is obscured. I look at this that sometimes the doctor tells you need to take, I'm going to make up some random, zinc oxide, throw some wacky spaghetti, whatever, right? You need to take this. And you're like, but for what? I'm telling you, I checked your blood, your this, that, your blood work, and your numbers and this and that, and you got to take it to stabilize things. And you're like, okay, I trust you, doc. It's not going to hurt me. Are there any side effects? No, there's no side effects. It's very important. If you want to do the research on it, do the research on it. So you try to do the research, and you're like, I read it. I listened to ChatGPT. I listened to Claude. He told me this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's going to be good for me. Do I understand it? Not really, but at least I know it's good for me, and I have a basic idea. So we learn this part of Tanya. Do we really understand it? Not necessarily. But the doctor tells us to learn it. The doctor, the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, he says, you got to learn this stuff. It's good for your soul. It's good for your body. It's good for your spiritual, emotional, physical, psychological well-being. You want to understand it? Go ahead, read it. You could try. You might understand it. You might not. Certain bits and pieces you'll get. Certain things you won't. But trust me, it's very good for you because your neshama needs it. Right? Okay, that's it for today, guys.